You may proceed.
Yes, Judge. If I may give a brief opening / overview of the case, Judge,
Sure.
to help you catch up. This is a legitimation matter, Your Honor. There's a minor child. Her name is Malaya Habib. She was born 2017, so she's 5 years old. The parties live together with.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bouvier, if you would open your computer, and so I can see your image as well as you could. You don't have to turn your mic on, but I do need to see your image. She's the opposing party, correct?
That's correct, Judge. She's the mom.
Yeah. All right, you may proceed.
Mr. Habib and Ms. Bouvier lived together at the time she was pregnant until Malaya was 2.5 years old. And they lived with the paternal grandmother, Marsha Francis, who was going to be a witness here for this court. After the party split, Mr. Habib saw Malaya every other weekend, and eventually, Judge, he went on to having every weekday with Malaya. So he was keeping her every week. Mom would have her on the weekend. The last time Mr. Habib saw his daughter was back in March of 2021. And we believe at that time she learned that he had someone else. He was involved with someone else. And they after they split up. So she stopped allowing Mr. Habib to see Malaya. April 14th, immediately following her decision not to allow any further visitation, she just disconnected herself from Mr. Habib. She filed a police report April 15th, alleging, and this is why we were back in court last year, Judge, before you, and this came up, and you appointed Ms. Giles. On April 15th, there was a report saying that the paternal grandmother was molesting the minor child. That case was closed. It was reopened and subsequently closed by DeKalb County. And then April 14th, almost a year later, exactly, Miss Bouvier also filed a report regarding the same incident and saying that Mr. Habib was the one that was molesting the minor child.
Ms. Bouvier, can you find a stationary place, please? All right, keep going.
Judge, since that time, Ms. Giles?
Message in the inbox. I got to pick my daughter up from school.
So you're going to be in the car at the court hearing?
She gets out of school at 2:20, so
you
I gotta
didn't make arrangements to have someone pick her up?
It's just me.
So what would you do if you were in court? You couldn't leave.
I mean, I would have someone to help me out. I have people that help
Exactly. And you got to have people to help you now. Everybody keeps thinking that Zoom allows them to kind of do everything when they want to, like it's every day, but it's not. You still have to be in court.
I didn't know it was last this long.
Yeah, it said all day. It's an all day hearing.
Yeah. I can take her somewhere though.
All right, go ahead and proceed.
Judge, since that time, so there were 2 investigations that were open with DeKalb County Police, and both cases were closed as unfounded. Defects was involved in this case. And my understanding is also that the child was seeing a therapist. There was a forensic interview with the minor child. None of it, the allegations were founded by any of the authorities involved.
Hold on for a second. Ms. Bouvier, how are we going to know when you have the child so we can make sure that we're not, this is the child at issue, right?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
The child you're picking up, is that the child at issue here?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so how are you planning on doing this so that she's not involved in the court proceeding?
I'm going to take her to her grandma's house.
Yeah, but how she, listen, it's not going to work. You got to find somebody. I don't know how long that's going to take her to her grandmother's house, but I know we can't be in the car and everybody's quiet to 30 minutes for you to take the drive. I know that. We can't do that.
Grandma's house.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem because financially, that means that people are waiting and somebody's got to pay Miss Fuller's bill.
Not
And it's you, and you're the one that's causing the delay.
wait, I'm going to my car.
And I don't know what to say. At the beginning of every call, I asked Miss Marsha to let everybody know it's going to be all day and that you cannot proceed like you're in your regular day. I do that at the beginning of all calls. When you're not on the call at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I did not know that.
I'm going to my house and the grandma house.
Right.
Can I go ahead and start on that?
Start on what?
I can put an earphone in my ear.
All right, do that.
Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Come on.
All right, I'm gonna put y'all on hold for a moment. Let me go back to
So
say, where are you now?
I'm outside.
Okay, you have the earpiece on?
No, I'm just outside.
Outside of where?
Of around her grandmother's house. Over
Okay.
in the,
Okay, so you got her from school.
yes.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Fuller.
Thank you, Judge. I think the last thing I said was 2 days after Miss Bouvier heard that Mr. Habib had moved on, that there was a police report filed. And the first police report back in April 15th of 2021 was the police report against the paternal grandmother, Marsha Francis, alleging that she had molested Malaya. And again, that was unfounded. And then there was a second police report filed a year later, April 14th, 2022. That was against Mr. Habib, and that was also unfounded. And Judge, you asked for the guardian to be appointed at the May hearing last year to investigate the child molestation in the best interest of the child. And coming forward, Judge, Mr. Habib was arrested. He's in custody on a violation of probation matter in Rockdale County. He is serving a 6-month sentence on the RSAT program. He's expected to be released, I think it's August of 2023. And he comes from a home, Judge, very supportive, very loving family. And they've all, since Malaya was born, all supported Malaya. She's very well aware of who her family members are, very attached to her grandmother, who in fact kept her for a year after she was born by herself. And so there's a really strong established relationship between them. There is a child support order for 251 through the agency, Judge. So child support has been established and that's being paid currently. Let's see what else is there. The evidence we expect to show today, Judge, is that Mr. Habib is a fit and proper parent. He's very loving, had a very close connection and bond with Malaya. That was severed dramatically, actually, back in March of 2021. He financially supported her. And at some point, Miss Bouvier was allowing Mr. Habib to have Malaya Monday through Friday of every week, and she would have her on the weekends. And that was established by the parties themselves. We're asking that the child be legitimated. We're asking for joint legal custody, and we're asking the court to set up a parenting time regarding every other weekend. Now, the fact that Mr. Habib is in custody, Judge, we're asking that his mother, who the child is well aware of, very accustomed to, she speaks with Mr. Habib via video daily. So we're asking that Miss Francis, who is a paternal grandmother of the child, be allowed to have the visitation pattern.
No, we're not gonna be able to do that. No, is she connected to the case?
No, Judge.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Yes, she is. Sorry.
I'm sorry?
She is connected to the case. She is the one that my daughter said molested her and sodomized her.
Okay, that's not what I meant. What I was asking was, did she have a request for grandparent visitation? If she doesn't have a request for grandparent visitation, I'm not going to grant it in that way. So
That's fine, Judge. And so we expect our case to show that we're asking for legitimation, joint legal custody, and established parenting time, Judge, to be presented to this court.
all right, Ms. Bouvier.
All right. I have an issue with the child molestation. No communication. They don't communicate at all. The incarceration. This is his third time being incarcerated for. I know 2 times it was for drug related. I don't know if this is what my daughter has to look forward to. I don't know what's going on with Mr. Habib, but he has not attempted to call her within these 2 years. Next month will make 2 years that he hasn't even called her on her birthday to say happy birthday, or had a friend or a family member to call, since he has so much helping and supportive family. Maybe they could be supportive towards Malaya as well, instead of, acting like she don't exist. Nobody has called to check on her or anything. So to me, it doesn't seem like they want to even be in her life or her life. I don't know why they're even doing the legitimation. They did it I think it was 4 months after everything that happened with the case for the sexual sodomy and this has been a lot to go through, being a single mother and taking care of my child by myself. Mario doesn't even pay his child support on time. He's behind in May. He didn't even pay in May. He's not even trying to help. He's not even trying to show up and show Malaya that he's here for her. He's not showing her that he's here. He's not being responsible at all. So I don't know what you guys are gonna do with this case, but I have her in school. I'm doing everything that I need to do to be the responsible parent that I've been ever since I had her. So I have let me see. The last time Malaya was over there, and another thing, the last time Malaya was over there, her grandmother had her in a soaking wet diaper with feces as well. And my daughter had a rash. Every time she did stay over there, she got rashes. And then when I brought her home to change her diaper that they did not clean, she had a busted lip. So I called her and asked her what happened to her. And she said she fell down the stairs, but she never told me. These people don't communicate with me. How would I know what's going on with my child if they don't even communicate?
How old is the child?
She's 5.
And how old was she when the alleged molestation took place?
She was 3. She was just learning about good touch, bad touch at school. This is the reason she decided to come out and tell me that. I have a recording in there of her saying that her nana stuck her fingers in her butt. That's so rude. Why would my child make something up like that? Why would she just say something like that? This is a 3-year-old child. Where's this coming from? I have
concern. Does the 3-year-old know how to wipe herself?
She does. At that time, no.
Okay. Is that a possibility that she was wiping herself?
She said that was so rude. Why would she say that?
Okay. All right. Anything else, Ms. Bouvier?
Yes. Mrs. Francis, they say that Jamaicans lick the picnic. What does that mean? This is what, okay, so the first time that all of this stuff came up, CPS came to their house. The grandmother called me, and she said she was trying to ask me about my court case that had nothing to do with what Mrs. Francis did to my child. And so I was like, hey, really what we're talking here about is the CPS coming to your house instead of me and my court date. And so she was like, I didn't want to get upset, but the real reason why I had called you is because they came over here and I didn't want to get upset. So I'll just tell you that Malaya said that she had a penis one time. And I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me this a long time ago? Why are you just now telling me this now?
Who are you talking about?
Mrs. Alpha Small. And that's when they first started saying Jamaicans lick the pickney. So I guess what they're saying.
Who is they?
Mario said Jamaicans lick the pickney. Mrs. Alpha Small said the Jamaicans lick the pickney. What they're meaning is Jamaicans hit the pickney. So when my daughter said,
what's a pickney?
Pickney is a child in Jamaican. That's what they say. It means child.
A pickney.
Pickney's child. They call a child a kid a pickney. So they saying Jamaicans lick the pickney, like they pop them. So I'm saying, why would she say Nana licked me in my butt when she pointed to her vagina? Why would she pop her in her vagina? That doesn't make any sense. Either way they're trying to spin this story, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't tell the truth.
Okay.
So I'm concerned about my daughter. I'm concerned about especially her seeing my daughter after all of this stuff happened. My daughter has been through counseling. I've been through counseling. And she's been through counseling since she turned 4. She had to wait until she was 4 in order to get into counseling because they didn't take kids older than 4. So we've been going through a lot. And these people are not even trying to call and check on her and let her know they care about her. They have not attempted. The only thing he does, he go on Facebook and talk about me like a dog. Like I'm keeping her from him, and I'm not keeping her from him. I never said that I'm going to keep you from your child. But all of this is going on. It's a lot that's going on.
All right, thank you. I'm going to call Ms. Giles as court witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please wait. Oh, well, you're officer of the court. Can you give me background and tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I was appointed last summer through DVLF. When I started the investigation, Mr. Habib had not yet been taken into custody. I met with him via Zoom. He was very forthcoming with the information, explained what was going on, the background. It is true, it's been said, there was this 2-year period where Mr. Habib had not seen Malaya. That was precipitated by these allegations of abuse. The allegations of abuse, they have sort of changed their tune based on the police reports I have seen. Each time there's some other allegation, it might be a little different or just hadn't been mentioned before. The police did a forensic evaluation of the child. I know Ms. Bouvier had tried to reopen the police case at least once. The police closed it the first time, tried to reopen it again. I understand the police closed it again. DFACS was involved. They also closed their case. So none of the allegations were founded allegations as far as the sexual abuse allegations against either Mr. Habib or his mother, Marcia Francis. I also, when I first got appointed, I reached out to both of the parties, Mr. Habib and Ms. Bouvier, to 1, fill out questionnaires for me, and 2, set up that initial meeting with me so we could go over other questions and I could just gather some more information. Mr. Habib was the easier of the 2 parties to communicate with and was very prompt in scheduling an appointment with me and getting me that questionnaire, which was helpful. I did have to chase down Ms. Bouvier to get that information. And you'll see in my Guardian report, that is why there was so much time in between my Zoom meeting with Mr. Habib and my Zoom meeting with Ms. Bouvier. I never did get Ms. Bouvier's questionnaire. So some of the information that I have for Mr. Habib, I just don't have for Ms. Bouvier because it was never returned to me. Regardless, during the investigation, when Mr. Habib was taken into custody, I was in communication with Ms. Fuller about what kind of sentencing he might be looking at to get a better idea of, what we are looking at. I do agree with what Ms. Fuller said, that Mr. Habib did have a special bond with Malaya. They were bonded. They had from what I can tell and the information I've been given, a good father-daughter relationship prior to this 2-year cutoff when Mr. Habib no longer saw Malaya. I do believe also, based on the information that I have found, that Malaya was very bonded with Mr. Habib's extended family, Miss Frances, her mother, the stepfather, and some siblings. I think that relationship was also very strong there. You know, I do think it's unfortunate, you know, the investigation got derailed, more or less, for a better phrase, because of the incarceration of Mr. Habib. There is one parent that is currently not in prison. I mean, and that is the parent I have recommended to have primary custody. I have recommended that Mr. Habib, once he is released from incarceration, gets the first, third, and fifth weekends of every month. There's an alternating holiday schedule I drafted in my proposed parenting plan. I have put in place a joint legal custodial arrangement with final decision making to Ms. Bouvier. And just so the court knows, I chose the first, third, and fifth to be very specific. These parties need to be very specific. Their communication is horrible. They both show poor judgment. We need to be able to schedule this out on a calendar so they're not coming back to the court and wasting the court's time with contempt after contempt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also very specific. That is the reason I was very specific in my summer recommendation. And what I did with my summer recommendation is specify the weeks that Mr. Habib is to have. I don't believe these parties are capable of discussing with productivity dates as we normally do with, you can have 2 weeks of uninterrupted time. It's going to be a mess. And so I specified what weeks dad could have each summer. So there was no back and forth with the parents. You know, I would recommend, I get that Mr. Habib is incarcerated right now, and so I don't know how this is going to be feasible, but I do think both parents should at least take the parenting seminar with the court, or at least some sort of parenting seminar to learn how to communicate a little better with each other. Even if it's a tad better, it's a heck of a lot better than what we're dealing with prior to the incarceration of Mr. Habib, and Malaya deserves that. They both show poor judgment, Your Honor. Mr. Habib is incarcerated. You know, that's poor judgment leading to that. There's been poor judgment, I think, on Ms. Bouvier's part as well, with just the allegations and the re-allegations. It's time to move forward. The forensic interview, the police defects, it was not found as anything had occurred. And so we need to move forward for the best interest of Malaya and let dad and his family have that relationship, or reestablish that relationship that he had with her prior to the incarceration and these allegations.
Now, were there ever allegations that I think I heard that Mr. Habib molested the child?
Initially, no. It was against Miss Frances, Mr. Habib's mother, the child's grandmother. And then at the re-up, after DeKalb police first closed their case, it was then added that Mr. Habib was also alleged to have done this.
Okay, and obviously he's in custody now for at RSAT. That tells me this is drug use. And so what parameters? I haven't had a chance to review your report. What parameters do you have in place for that?
Yeah, I have for both of them. Miss Bouvier is also currently on probation, Your Honor. I understand, I believe she's getting off probation this summer. It was not for drugs. It was for a cruelty to children charge in the second degree. But I do have in the parenting plan that I drafted up that both parties absolutely need to follow any probation conditions and be compliant with probation. I have also put in the parenting plan that there is to be no illegal drug use.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. I know I'm trying to, Ms. Marshall, when did you send the report to me?
I'll search and resend it now, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, can I clear something up real quick?
No, not right now. Never mind, Aline, I got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
The Okay, so you're saying that the parenting plan that you presented, does it already have that detail in it, or do I need to go through it?
It has the illegal drug detail and the probation detail.
Okay. And you said, like, you know how we say, okay, during the summer you can have this week, this week. You're saying that for them, we need to actually specify? I mean, what specifically do you think I should do or add to the parenting plan that you submitted?
The one I submitted, I specified in there that father would have the the child from the Friday of Memorial Day weekend until the following Friday. And then again, the Friday of Father's Day weekend until the following Friday.
Okay. And father lives with his mother?
Yes. Yes. Prior to his incarceration, yes, they were living, he was living with his mother.
All right, Mr. Love, just make a note that if he moves away from mother's home, we need to be mindful that address needs to be given prior to moving.
Yes.
So we'll know where you might take the child. I want to make sure this child stays in a safe environment.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
did you get a chance to look at Ms. Bouvier's home?
No, I did not look at her home, Your Honor. After he was incarcerated, there were no allegations of bad home environment other than the sexual allegations. So I did not. And after the incarceration, I mean,
you kind of felt like it was kind of
there was one parent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And Ms. Fuller, your position is that you're trying to get parenting time. You're not trying to get custody, right?
Right, Judge. Right. We agree with the parenting plan that was set out by Ms. Giles, Judge. One thing we don't, and I didn't get to discuss this with Ms. Giles, we don't know where Ms. Bouvier lives. And I believe that pickup and drop off would be at her residence. So I want to be able to have an address for her. It took us a long time to find her, to serve her as well. So I want to be able to know where she lives. Additionally, Judge, I do believe that I would add that neither party shall remove the minor child from the state of Georgia without the court's permission or without filing a modification.
Okay. And Ms. Bouvier, where is she from?
She has family in Florida, in the state of Florida, and she's written to the court several times, Judge, that she intends to move back to the state of Florida.
Oh, okay. I thought I just assumed that she may have been from another country as well. Well, I think you said something about Jamaicans, but I'm assuming Ms. Bouvier, you're saying that Ms. Habib is Jamaican.
He is, and she, yeah.
All right. But Ms. Bouvier, you're American. Or
yes,
you're from here. You're not from the islands or any other place.
I'm from Florida. They are from the island.
Okay.
They well could be reciprocated the same way. They could take her to Jamaica. I don't know. But Mrs. Francis did not have my child for over a year. She only had her for a month.
Okay, Ms. Bouvier, that's all I was asking. You'll have an opportunity to speak. Right now it's Ms. Giles. She's being questioned, not you. But I will give you an opportunity to talk with Ms. Giles, ask her questions, but that's not your time yet. All right,
Okay.
Give me one moment. Do you, Ms. Fuller, additional questions for Ms. Giles?
Not from Ms. Giles, Judge, nothing.
All right, and Ms. Bouvier, do you have questions for Ms. Giles? You had a chance to review her report?
No, I didn't get a chance to review her report. I was just reading it.
Okay. You need any more time? I just finished it.
As far as she's saying she want him to get her 3 weekends out of the month.
Okay, this is the time where you talk with her about questions or concerns that you might have. If you have a question, you can say, hey, why'd you make that recommendation?
Mrs. Giles, you recommend Mr. Habib to get three weekends out of the month?
My recommendation is for the first, third, and fifth weekend. There's usually a fifth weekend once a quarter. more or less in every calendar year. The first and third, instead of saying every other, I did that because I do think it needs to be very specific on the calendar dates. So there's no arguing back and forth and everyone is very clear on when Malaya is with Mr. Habib.
And did you say that, did you say he could get her from Friday to the following Friday? For Father's Day?
That would be for summer.
What is that, like 1 week, or what is that?
I specified 2 weeks, Friday to Friday in summer, one the Friday of Memorial Day weekend until the following Friday, and then one to correspond with Father's Day weekend until the following Friday.
And this is supposed to be a yearly thing?
Yes, holidays would take place every year, the standard holiday schedule that I put in place, yes.
Okay, but this is supposed to happen after he gets out of jail.
Yes, this would all start once Mr. Habib is released from prison.
And he is supposed to have her at his mother's house.
I did not specify a location to exercise visitation for Mr. Habib in the parenting plan. It was my understanding that is where he was living prior to the incarceration, but I don't know where he'll be living after the fact.
I indicated that was one of my considerations. Unless I hear something differently, that was a consideration for the court.
Okay, because my daughter said that her grandmother touched on her. So what are we doing about that? Because is what Malaya said not counted for? Like, what is up with that? I don't understand.
Miss Bouvier, I think you do. You recognize that you've had 4 opportunities for someone to consider what you're saying, and 4 opportunities, those people closed your file. So I don't think you find it far-fetched that you're over here talking to me and I don't know what to do with it either, because you have a 3-year-old who could very well be confused about various things, making allegations that did not go anywhere. The DA did not pick it up. The police did not pick it up. DFACS did not pick it up. And those are the agencies that will have on the ground running. Okay. And then you had Ms. Giles had an opportunity to do investigation as well. So here we are, 4 agents, 4 or 5 times that this matter has been presented. So I don't know why you think it's,
they didn't
one
even
of those
talk
things that's inconsiderate, because your daughter was 3. That's probably one of the larger issues.
And Judge, if I may, there is a recording that Ms. Bouvier sent to the court, which details in very specific details of Ms. Bouvier sitting with the baby and really asking her very specific questions about the incident that she reported that the daughter came to her about, and asking her about being touched. And I'm sure the police had a chance to look at that, because she sent it to the police and she shared it. She shared it with the court. And it actually was very disturbing at the time I looked at it, Judge. But I think what Ms. Bouvier is trying to establish is that there's some foul play going on at the house, but there's no evidence. I've looked at this case. Ms. Giles have looked at this case. The police have looked at it. And for her to come on today and still say these things makes me wonder, Judge, if I shouldn't have done a psychological evaluation in this case, because she has no reason for it, but she's still insisting on it, which means that she's never going to allow Mr. Habib or his mom or the people that loves this little girl to have a role in their lives. And it's disturbing.
Okay, so do you have any questions for Ms. Giles, Ms. Bouvier?
Yeah, I'm actually not trying to keep Malaya out of his life at all. I've never said that. As a matter of fact, I'm the one that kept him in her life before everything happened. So that's not true, what she's saying. Mrs. Giles, as far as questions for you, I guess everything starts in August, right?
Whenever his release date is, I'm not exactly certain. I heard today it was August 2023.
What am I supposed to do now? What's the next steps?
What are you asking her specifically?
I guess what's the next steps after this call today?
What do you mean the next steps?
I guess maybe I'm asking you, what are the next steps? Because you told me to ask Mrs. Giles questions, so I'm asking her questions. So
Yes, and I'm asking you to be more specific about the questions you're asking her. When you say the next step, what do you mean?
all right, so today after we finish with court today, are there some paperwork? Is there paperwork that we have to fill out, or what is the next step?
The court will put in place an order for you all.
Okay. Will you still allow me to speak?
Yes, you're going to get a chance. Right
Okay.
now, we're questioning Ms. Giles.
Gotcha.
Do you have any more? Do you have
No
any
more
more questions for?
Thank you,
Okay.
Mrs. Scott.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any does anyone need Ms. Giles to remain? All right, then you're free to leave.
No
Thank you.
objection.
And Your Honor, I forgot to mention, because of the bad communication, I did put in that they were both to use our family wizard going forward. That is part of the parenting plan. Just, I forgot to mention that.
Okay, thank you. You may.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Fuller, call your first witness.
Judge, I'm gonna call Mr. Romario Habib.
Mr. Habib, did I swear everyone in at the same time? I can't recall.
No, Judge, you didn't.
All right, Mr. Habib, Ms. Bouvier, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
I do.
ma'am.
All right, place your hands down. All right, you may proceed, Ms. Fuller.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Habib, can you state your full name for the record? Please.
Romario Antonio Habib.
And Mr. Habib, you are the father of Malayla Habib, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Malay.
Malaya. And were you living with Miss Bouvier at the time that she had Malayla?
Yes, when she had Malay, I lived with her, yes.
Okay. And do you recall how long did you guys live together?
We lived together for a year before that, like it's 2 years or 3 years.
Prior to being pregnant and post having Malaya?
Yes, it's from prior to after, yes.
Okay. And do you recall how long did you guys with total while you actually were raising Malaya? Was it a year, 2 years?
2 years and a half.
2.5. And at that time, where did you live with Miss Bouvier?
We lived at I can't remember the exact address, but it was in Covington, Georgia, New Hampshire.
Okay. And you provided for Malaya, you took care of Malaya on a daily basis as well, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you form a bond with Malaya?
Yes,
while
ma'am.
you were at some
Yes.
point did Malaya go to live with your mother, Miss Marsha Francis?
Yes, for a period of time, yes.
Approximately how long?
Not sure, it was a few months.
Okay. Prior to being separated from Miss Bouvier, were there any issues as to your role as a father to Malaya?
Never.
Okay. Did there come a time that you broke up with Miss Bouvier?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall when that was?
It was between 2019, around 2019.
2019. And let me just back up. Malaya was born in 2017, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you broke up with Miss Bouvier, what was the custodial arrangements or the parenting schedule that you and Miss Bouvier came up with?
We both, at first I had her on the weekends, and then when it got to the time where she wanted to go back to work, I started keeping her through the weeks. But I had her on the weekends for a long time. I'd pick her up from school, drop her back off to London. We had perfect co-parenting going on until she found out about my girlfriend, which was my girlfriend at that time. She was pregnant, and it was her idea. She was like, she wanted London to be aware of who Malaya is spending time with other than me. So it was her idea to meet London, and I told her London is not gonna, she's not gonna take it the same way she's looking at it. So everything went downhill as soon as she met her.
And when was that meeting? Do you recall?
The meeting was it was sometime in March 2021, I think.
Okay, March 10. And once Miss Bouvier found out that there was another woman, did she continue to allow you to see Malaya?
The next day, I was supposed to go pick up Malaya. The day she met her, within the next day, I was supposed to pick up Malaya from daycare. When I got to the daycare, I called the daycare before I went there. They said she was there. I was on the way up there. When I got to the daycare, she wasn't there. They said London came and picked her up already. Ever since that day, I haven't seen Malaya.
And that was in April, what you said, April?
Yes, ma'am. Well, it's March. I think we're still in
March of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you living at that time?
I was living at my mom's house and I'd go visit my girlfriend and come back and forth, but I was living at my mom's house.
Okay. And when you lived with your mom, would your mom assist you in caring for Malaya?
Every time, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did she have a close bond with Malaya and the other people in your family?
Yes, ma'am.
How many people would be living in the house with you and your mom at that time?
It was my mom, my grandma, my stepdad, my little brother, and then my other siblings, that's my stepdad kids, they would come over here and there, and then nieces as well. His granddaughter, Kiara, was always there, and everybody loved Malaya. Malaya spent time with everybody.
And prior to the March 2021, did Ms. Bouvier know about all these people who had a relationship established with Malaya?
Yes, ma'am. She's always known.
But she was very familiar with them, correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Did you hear any complaints from Ms. Bouvier regarding your mom and any sexual allegations prior to March of 2021?
No, ma'am, never. There was never any allegations. Everything started happening the day, literally the day after she met my girlfriend.
And she trusted Miss Francis with watching Malaya and taking care of Malaya prior to that date, correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Since that time, that was March of 2021, you have not seen or spoken to Malaya, correct?
Yes, ma'am, because every time I attempted contact with London, when we got on the phone, there was immediate yelling. Oh, no, we're not going to talk about you seeing her yet. We want to talk about you and who touched my daughter and what happened with her and this and that. And I'm like, London, you know that nothing like that has ever happened. While we were together, she was very familiar. Matter of fact, she came to Jamaica. We both visited my dad in Jamaica. So she understands how we talk, how our language is different. And even though I thought it was a barrier with certain things, I found out, like, there's a lot of American friends I have that when they say birthday licks, they know that birthday licks mean that somebody's going to get hit a couple times for their birthday or whatever. While we were together, I spoke to Malaya the same way in Patois. If Malaya did something bad, I'd be like, Malaya, stop it. I'm going to hit you on I'm going to lick it by your bottom. In Patois, I'm going to lick it by your bottom, which translates to, I am going to hit you on your butt, or I'm going to hit you on your bottom. I'm spanking you, basically, just like a spanking. And it was never no serious spanking like abuse, nothing close to that, just a spanking if she did anything bad. And she understood it because she was always, no, don't spank me. No, don't lick me. So she understood what it meant. London understood what it meant at the time because while we were together, it was the same thing. She understood it the whole way up until we broke up.
And so when she came to you back in March or April of 2021, was that what she said, that Malaya said that brought up the lick?
Yes, she said, Malaya said Nana licked her on her butt. And I'm like, London, you know what we mean when we say lick. You're taking her saying lick and turning it into licked and making it sound sexual. That's out of context.
Okay. Were you contacted at some point by DFACS or the police regarding this matter?
They didn't contact me until the second issue because I think they contacted my mom because she was the one that was complained about before.
Okay. And did you cooperate with the police or DFACS?
Everybody that contacted me, I cooperated with them, gave them whatever information was needed. Never had any issues.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, there were no warrants or any arrests regarding any of these allegations of molestation?
No, ma'am.
Now, you're currently under a child support order, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's for $251 per month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that was established through the child support agency, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you heard what Ms. Giles, the guardian ad litem, recommended as the parenting plan, where you would be joint legal custodian and you would get first, third, and fifth weekend of every month?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're in agreement with that schedule?
Yes, ma'am. Anything she agrees with that would allow me to see Malaya and be able to reconnect my bond with her would be fine with me.
Okay. And you will continue to live at your mother's home once you get out of Rockdale County Detention Center?
Yes, ma'am.
And you heard the court ask earlier if you would agree to make the court aware, or
if I ever plan on moving.
If you plan to move from.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's all I have at this point, Judge.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Bouvier, do you have any questions for Mr. Habib?
Yes. He said that his mother had her for 2 months. She said that she had her for a year. So which one is it?
I said a few months. I didn't say 2 months.
But 2 months and a year is a really big difference.
Yes, but while you were living with her as well, because during my arrest in Rockdale County, no, in Newton County, they put a no contact on me and London Bouvier because we were living at the house. That's when I got arrested the first time. They put a no contact on us, and in order for me to have somewhere because she didn't have anywhere to go. So I allowed her to go to my mom's house. And while staying with my mom, they got in conflicts there because she always had something that wasn't going her way or whatever it was while she was living at my mom's house. So that's what caused them to fall out or caused her to start having my mom with whatever it is she had her up on.
So it was how long was it
A few
that
months.
your mom had Malaya?
A few months.
It was a few months. Okay, so it wasn't a year. I just wanted to clear that up. Oh, you said that it was right after I found out that you and your girlfriend, and she was pregnant at the time when I saw you guys in the car that day.
Yeah.
You said it was right after that you guys found out about the child molestation?
That's when you started making all those claims. You started making those claims immediately after that.
That's not true. That happened back in March. I think that was the last time we talked to
You
each
gotta
other.
ask questions only.
Okay. Okay, so you're saying that that's not true?
It's not true.
Okay. And then you said that, and then you signed a promissory note also to pay back the money that your mom took from me because she got you and your friend out of jail on my credit card for $6,000.
Judge, I'm going to object to that question. It doesn't sound that it's relevant to this issue before the court.
How's it relevant, Ms. Bouvier?
As far as character, to show how responsible or versus irresponsible he is, because he never paid me the money either.
Well, you just said you didn't mind him having visitation with your child. So why is the character
because when we got out of jail,
important?
his mother, she used my credit card to get him out of jail, him and his friend without.
But what does that have to do with him visiting his child?
What does that have to do with him visiting his child? No, I'm just his character. That he doesn't talk to me. First of all, this is our first time talking. This is my first time hearing this story.
All right, let me just stop you. I got a lot going on today. So
okay.
The question, I'm going to sustain the objection. Go to your next question.
Okay, and are you saying that I kept you away from your daughter?
Yes, I am saying that because that's exactly what you did.
How did I keep you away from her?
Your Honor, every time I attempted to contact London, it always ended up, like I said before, it started off in an argument. The first, you're not going to talk to me about me. You're going to talk to me about who touched my daughter and who did this to my daughter, who did that to my daughter. And this is after all these cases. Not only that, after I decided I don't want to contact her anymore, that's when we decided we're going to go through the court system and brought it to legitimation. Then my grandmother, who is the very nice person, she has always tried to reach out to London. She either got to speak to her a few times, and when she didn't speak to her, she either said she didn't answer the phone or she stopped answering the phone. We've tried to contact her multiple times. All this stuff she's saying about people not trying to contact her is only because every time people does try to contact her, she turns it into an argument, turns it into a conflict, and makes everything about her and who did what to Malaya when nobody did anything to Malaya. I would never touch my daughter. I would never do anything like that. London told me about her being a child and told me about her uncle or one of her family members touching her, and she knows how I felt about it. It would hurt me to know that a family member could even touch their own family member like that. So it hurt me very much. So the fact that she brought these cases up to us makes me not even believe that she was molested as a child anymore, because she's lying through her teeth about all of that. None of us have ever touched Malaya improperly. We've never taught Malaya anything improper, none of that.
Who molested as a child?
She told me, London Bouvier told me that one of her uncles molested her as a child. And I believed it, and I even took it up. Like when we went to Florida to meet her family, she didn't even want to meet her family.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, all right. I see what you're saying. You're saying you don't believe London
Yes, I don't
because
believe-
of the allegation that she's holding against the child. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not necessary. We don't need to go there. What's the next
Thank
issue? What's your next question, Ms. Bouvier?
You as far as Malaya go, when was the last time, or how do you have a call log for how many times you tried to contact Malaya?
I'm pretty sure I can find one, but I've changed phones 2 or 3 times since then because I've broken a couple phones. My phones always end up shattered or screens messed up, so I had to change my phones.
What about
But
your
I'm
family?
sure I have some type of contact somewhere to show that I've tried to contact you. I've tried to call you on WhatsApp multiple times. I've tried to call your regular phone multiple times. And every time we do get in contact, matter of fact, ma'am, the lady that she calls her grandma, I'm not sure if it's the same lady that she's calling Malaya's grandma. Her name is Terosa Ingram. I've spoke to me and Terosa Ingram. I went to her house one day, like at least a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And Terosa Ingram was sitting right next to me when she told me, I told Terosa about the whole situation. She already knew about the situation. I asked her, I was like, London never answers the phone and I'm there when I call her or anything like that. So I called her in front of her supposedly godmother. Terosa Ingram had to call her from her own phone and tell her, I'm standing right here with Romario. Answer the phone because she let the phone go straight to voicemail the first time. Until Terosa called her and told her to answer the phone because she's standing there next to me, she didn't answer the phone.
That's not true.
Okay, next question.
As far as your family, you say they tried to call too, and then you said it was WhatsApp too. You do know that's an app, right? Not actually my number.
Your phone number is connected to WhatsApp, London, and you've talked to us multiple times through WhatsApp. That's how we got
No,
pictures.
I always talk on my regular phone. So why wouldn't you call the regular phone number? Why would you call a WhatsApp an
She
app?
said questions, London.
Because you're saying that you've been trying to get in contact with her and you haven't. So I'm asking, why would you call a WhatsApp number instead of an actual regular number that you know
Called
for
your
sure
regular number and you
is
don't
my
answer
number?
the phone. We've called your regular number and you didn't answer the phone. We've called WhatsApp and you answered multiple times. You've answered on both of those devices, on both of those. So
I see you like making stuff up, but this is a real life at stake. I don't think you should really play with Malaya's life like that. You should
Okay,
really,
no comments, just ask questions. You'll get a chance to speak when it's your time to be questioned. Right now, Mr. Habib.
Okay, when was the last time you reached out to Malaya?
every time I tried to call your phone, that was me reaching out to Malaya. I wasn't trying to talk to you about anything. I was trying to talk to Malaya. All of the times, Lynn, I stopped reaching out after we started this legitimation case because I know I was already accustomed to you cursing everybody out, arguing every time. I'm tired of arguing with you, London. Every time I've ever talked to you before that, it was about Malaya, never about you.
You can hold me to that all you want, but I was just asking you, when was the last time you called your daughter?
The last time I called you.
I think he's already tried to answer that question. Move on to another one.
He tried to answer that question?
Yes, ma'am. He's already told you don't pick up. That's what he said.
That's not true.
Yes, I understand that, but he answered the question. What's your
He
next
didn't-
question?
A year ago, 2 years ago, when was the last time he tried to communicate with her is what I'm asking.
You mean the date?
Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't remember an exact date. I don't remember an exact date, but that's why I told her once we filed for legitimation, I stopped trying to contact her because we knew there was no way to get through to her without having arguments and confrontations, right?
But you are aware of my number though, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that. That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Any follow-up, Ms. Fuller?
No follow-up, Judge.
All right, any additional witnesses?
Judge, I'm gonna call Miss Bouvier for purposes of cross.
All right, and Ms. Bouvier, now they're gonna question you on cross-examination. Go ahead, Ms. Fuller.
Thank you, Judge. Miss
You
Bouvier,
gotta be able to see your face. All right, go ahead.
Miss Bouvier, you heard Miss Giles's recommendation to the court regarding the parenting plan. Did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, are you in agreement with the parenting plan and the schedule as outlined by Miss Giles?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Did you submit a proposed parenting plan to the court?
I did.
Okay, and what were you suggesting that would be a proper schedule? Because you said you're saying two things that I'm trying to clarify for the court. what you're trying to get done. On one hand, you're saying he hasn't reached out to her, she hasn't done these things, but on the other hand, you're saying you don't want him to have contact. Do you want Mr. Habib to have contact with Malaya?
I don't think it's safe for him to have contact.
Okay.
I don't think she's safe, and I don't think she's safe with him. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
when
I'm
you-
confused. One second. Now I'm confused. I thought you specifically indicated that you had not kept the child from him and that the child was always available to him. And now you're saying that you don't want the child with him, which I'm confused now. Which one is it?
So, Your Honor, how exactly do you keep a child away from someone? Do you like not answer?
I'm asking you this question. You said that you had not kept the child away from him and that you wanted the child to be involved. You wanted him involved in the child's life. You specifically said, I want him to be involved in my child's life. I want him to have contact with her. You said that 45 minutes ago.
Yeah,
And
but
now
listen,
you're saying you don't want him. I'm confused. Where's the distinction that you're
What I-
making?
what I told you was that I was the only one that was keeping contact with them. That was before I found out all about this child molestation and all this stuff.
Ma'am, that
The only one
you're-
keeping contact with.
no,
with-
ma'am, you're confused. Okay. I specifically asked you time frames. When I'm taking notes, I'm asking you time frames. You said that you, with regard to him, that you would not keep this man away from his child. You said those things, and that's the reason why I let Ms. Giles go, because she was the court's witness, because I didn't think there was any more issues, because you said that you would never keep this child from her dad. When you said that, that took away all the issues, and I let Ms. Giles go. Now you're telling me that you do have an issue. Do you want me to show you what you want me to read back what you said?
Your Honor,
Because that's exactly what you said.
Your Honor, she hasn't seen him in over 2 years. And then on top of that, this child molestation, we haven't even really talked about all this stuff.
Ma'am,
But
I
what you guys
specifically
wanna
asked.
do.
So let me ask you this. Did you not say that you would never keep the child from her dad? Did you not say that?
I said I never tried to keep him away from her. That's what
Okay.
I said.
But now
He's
you're
saying
telling
I
me,
tried to keep him away from her. I never tried to keep him away from her. I was defending myself, telling you guys in the court that I never tried. You can go read the script. I never tried to keep him away from her. I never not answered a call because he never called me. I was the only one calling.
well, why would you call him if you had never intended for them to
Because
be
I
together?
didn't have nobody to keep my baby, and I was trying to get him to keep his child. He wouldn't even let me. He wouldn't even keep her.
Miss Bouvier, tell me this. Why would you call the person that you think is molesting your child to keep your child? And now that he
This
wants
was
to
way
keep the
before I
child,
found out about that. This was way before I found out about that. We found out about that in March of 21. This is 23 right now.
so in March of 21, you were
We
keeping
broke
him
up in
from her.
19.
And
21
after,
is 2 years later.
so 2 years later, now your position is you don't want him around her.
Yeah, I don't know what happened between Marsha and my daughter. I don't know what she did to him. I don't know what she did to her.
What about him? I thought you said he molested her.
He taught her how to do some sexual things. And on top of that, I have talked to him about it twice. And he always hung up the phone in my face. He never tries to talk to me about anything. This case has not even been solved. Nobody has talked to me about anything. Marsha called my lawyer to tell him to call me and cancel the case, whether it's true or not. Before she never even called me. But she called my lawyer to tell him to tell me to cancel the case.
I'm
Whether
gonna ask you 5 questions. Okay.
Okay.
And I need for you to answer them succinctly, and remember that this is going to be your position. It won't change again. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Why are you moving?
Moving because it's cold out here
Okay. Where are you going so you can get someplace
in the sun
Okay. Tell me when you're where you're supposed to be.
right now.
Okay.
Right.
All right. 1, is it your position that Mr. Habib should not be around his daughter? as you speak right now.
Is it my position? What you mean by that?
Okay, I'm done. All right, I'm done with this case. I don't know what's going on here, but something's not right. Something's not right.
Your Honor, could I say something?
Yes.
Your Honor, this is what I had to go through every time I called her. This is exactly what happened. This is after what she's talking about from March when she's saying she found out about whatever allegations. She's the one that made the allegations in March, right after. We met her, my baby mom at the time right now met her, wanted to meet her. And we met around right before all these allegations started. We met early March before she had the baby. She had the baby April 2nd. Early March, right before my girlfriend had the baby, that's when she met her. And right after she met her, within the next day, she called me back telling me, oh, she was jealous and that she thought that she was gonna have a chance with me again, and that she thought that I was just gonna go have fun and come back. And then every time after she made these allegations and I tried to reach out to her, it always went to this. No, we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about what you did to my daughter, what your mom did to my daughter, this, that, this. And I'm like, London, you've had CPS, the Cobb County, and the child services through all these investigations, nothing came back. And every single time, ma'am, when I tried to call her, this is what it went to. And that's why I stopped calling her and filed for legitimation.
All right. Do you have any concerns about Ms. Bouvier's mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna reopen the case. I need a mental health evaluation done. Ms. Bouvier, I'm gonna do a mental health evaluation on you. Okay.
What about, they've been taking me through a lot for a long time, and I've been taking care of my child on my own, and they're still being dishonest, even right now.
I gotta figure out what's going on. Okay.
agree.
You're inconsistent. You're inconsistent with your testimony. You're all over the place. I don't even know what I've been on the call with you guys for an hour now, and I have no clue what your position is. And when I ask you a direct question, you can't get it answered. Okay. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to find out. Okay. You're going to have Miss Scott is going to reach back out to you, and we're going to figure out what's going on, because now I'm concerned.
You concerned about me because I'm saying that I don't feel comfortable with her giving him 2 weeks out of the month?
No, I'm concerned about your I'm concerned about your overall presentation.
Huh?
I'm concerned about your overall presentation. You're inconsistent. You're saying one thing and 5 minutes later, you're saying something else. You're inconsistent. It doesn't match.
What's not matching, Your Honor?
What you're saying isn't matching. It doesn't match up. Listen, Miss Bouvier, I don't know you. Okay. I don't know Miss Francis. I don't know Miss Habib. I don't know Miss Fuller very well. I do know Miss Giles. And I'm telling you, I've been on the phone with you for an hour. I've been doing this for 15 years. And what you're saying worries me, because it doesn't make sense.
I agree, Judge. If you look at the police reports, a year apart, they're describing the same exact instance in two different ways. And that's how we have a report against Miss Francis. And from that same instance, she derived a report against Mr. Habib a year later. And that's the same sort of confusion we've had to deal with.
Yeah, I want a full report.
Okay. I would rather have everything out too. I feel like this is kind of slapped together to do this as a final. And I still don't have any answers about what happened to my daughter. So I'm very concerned about that.
Right.
With
we all are. Something is not right. Okay.
Yes.
Judge, can I move? I agree with you, Your Honor. Can I move the court to enter an order for legitimation? And
yes.
Thank you.
I'll enter the order for legitimation. I'm going to bring Ms. Giles back. We're going to have to do a full mental health. Let's see if we can do a full mental health evaluation for Ms. Bouvier, because I need to figure out what's going on. But Ms. Bouvier, your stories are changing and I don't like it. What school does she attend?
Marlboro Traditional Theme School.
And what kind of grades did she get there?
She's in pre-K. She's very smart. She's actually one of the kids that like to take initiative and take over the class. She's very funny. She loves her dad. I don't talk bad about him the way he talks bad about me. But yeah, I would really like to thoroughly go through this case because
we're not thoroughly going through the case. We're trying to figure out your mental health.
Okay.
And with that, Judge, there's a recent phone call to Miss Marsha Francis's home on their home phone, where the child calls and said, obviously using the mom's phone, saying, "Where are you? I miss you. You haven't spoken to me in a long time. I want to hear from you." Clearly using, it was Miss Bouvier's voice in the background. So this is all very confusing. So Judge, I totally agree with the court in needing clarification.
All right, but in the interim, we'll do a temporary order in the interim. But I mean, well, I guess it wouldn't matter. Mr. Beebe is in custody, won't be in custody to 8 August.
Okay.
In that interim, though, we can look and try to get this mental health evaluation done. And then I'll reinstate Ms. Giles. And also, but we'll do a legitimation at this time as well. You can send that over.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So everyone, we're done for today. Mr. Love, give me a call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.